Good morning, friends, and thank you for tuning in to another shorty episode of 10 Minutes with Tammy, where we focus on all things for parents of children, teens, and young adults with special needs. From quick and helpful actionable tips, tools, and strategies to transparently talking about our trials and definitely celebrating our triumphs. If you think this podcast could be helpful for anyone in your network or your community, please share it. Now, for those of you who may not know me or this is your first episode you're listening to, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am your special needs advocate and educator, as well as the host and producer of the On Air Advocate podcast and broadcast. And our topic today, which I'm super excited about, is the power of pre-planning. Now, how do we do that in the midst of all the chaos and overwhelm? Well, we are going to chat about it today. Now, before we dive in, a quick disclaimer that these are all just ideas and thoughts that have worked for me and some others within my special needs community. And you may have many other things that work for your family, or you might find that some of these work great and some of them not. It's all about sharing. So extract what you think out of this list that could be helpful and beneficial and share it on. I always also love to hear from you guys. So if you have any helpful pre-planning tools that you have used in the past that you're like, this is rock star, we need to add this to the list, please share it below this podcast. In the comments, or head on over to onairadvocate.com and just add it to our contact page. Now, as you guys know, it is my mission to try to keep these episodes to 10 minutes so they are quick and easy, actionable tools to just get it done. And we are all so busy. So with that, I am going to hit my timer and we are going to start. So here we go. As a parent in general, we have many moments that are glorious, right? Many joyful moments with our children. But we also have many times that we feel the weight of the world that is on our shoulders. We have so many things coming at us, and that's just not family and kids. In our world today, it is very, very noisy. And with that, it is easy to become overwhelmed and feel like you're in the mix of all of the chaos. So when we think about the power and the importance of pre-planning, what is something that is so important to remember? And to me, I feel it's to not let that chaos and overwhelm get ahead of me. And when I was thinking about this episode, it made me reflect back on all of the surgeries and procedures that my son has had and how many times the doctors have said to me, do not let the pain get ahead of him. And I'll show you how these correlate in a second. So in the medical realm, when they say to not let the pain get ahead of you, they're talking about managing those medications at a maintenance level consistently at the same time, scheduled out, so that your child doesn't wake up in the morning that they didn't have things during the night and the pain gets out of control, or during the day you miss some of those different meds, or you're like, oh, they're doing pretty good, we're not going to give it right now. No, because that can throw things way off track, way out of whack, make things extremely overwhelming. And it can take sometimes hours, even days, to get that pain back under control. So it's all about the pre-planning, keeping it consistent, maintaining it, and making sure that you're doing it at that same scheduled time every day. So when I was thinking about this episode, it's kind of the same thing. So how do we keep that chaos and overwhelm from getting ahead of us? It's taking those actionable steps, pre-planning with the small things every day. And looking ahead and forecasting ahead, just like I was doing with him in the hospital. I'm forecasting the week ahead, when we need to manage the pain, what times it's going to be at, how do I maintenance it? It's the same thing, is that we don't want to wait till the morning of to be like, oh, I'm going to make the list. Oh, I think I'm going to pack lunches now. Oh, I think I'm going to go get gas now. Oh, I think I need the prescriptions from the pharmacy, because we know, what does that do? It just sends us into this spiral of, oh my gosh, there is so much. And I know that none of us really ever wanted this job description, but I feel that in the world of pre-planning. Special needs parents are rock stars, but we really like have the job description as like pro pre-planners. Now, in the beginning, I was thinking about this as I was putting together this podcast, is that for parents that are new to the special needs world, maybe their child has not been diagnosed yet, or they've just gotten a diagnosis. They're like, okay, well, I want to pre-plan and I don't want to let all this chaos get ahead of me, but I don't even know what it's supposed to be on the list. And that is where I say my podcast and other podcasts that are out there that support special needs parents, that's why you're here. So take the list that we have and the journey that we've lived, extract the things that you think could work for you, but also every child and every family has their own unique situation. Make sure that you are jotting down and writing out, oh, that worked really good. Hey, I pre-planned that, so that you can one day share that with others, but also have it on your effective strategy list. So with that, here is the list in no specific order, and I'm 4 minutes in already, so I need to get going on this. First thing, get up 2 hours before your kids. Now, I know you're going to say, Tammy, I haven't been sleeping, I'm sleeping sporadically. That's really hard because my child wakes up at 4 a.m. This is all I can tell you from my own personal experience is I have been getting up 2 to 3 hours before my children for more than a decade. And if I ever oversleep, if I ever sleep in, I am telling you, it is instantly like the day is overwhelming. I mean, from that moment, because everything I would have done during that quiet time of the extra preparation or those extra few phone calls or those extra things, I've eliminated that time to do them in. So getting up the 2 hours beforehand. Now, another thing that I learned, I was reading a book and it was talking about scientifically that they find that human beings are the most productive in the first 2 hours that they are awake. So think about it. It's like a double whammy. If you get up 2 hours ahead of time, not only do you have the quiet of your children not being up and the quietness of the house, but you also are in your most productive period time of the day in those first 2 hours. So I just thought that was like an awesome little insight that I found out. I'm like, oh, I never knew that. So I just wanted to share. Next thing up is making a list the night before. So obviously we have things that we can pre-plan, core items that you can do a week ahead of time. So that might be therapy sessions, doctor appointments, the school hours, all of that already can be on the core things that happen within the week. But making that list a night before of the different actions you have to take that next morning, whether it's make a phone call, put something in your car, getting ready for an appointment, all of those things, and like the time you have to get ready for them, which we're going to talk about later in this list. I think that making a list the night before is so important for the things that are not on the core list that happen all the time. And that really helps you to just stay on track, to not lose focus. And a lot of times, as we know, if we have lack of sleep, that sometimes can make us a little bit more forgetful. So it's just really a great reminder. Setting out things the night before. So whether that's clothes, backpacks, making lunches the night before. I know that's a simplistic one that everyone has said for 100 years now. But it definitely works. And that's why I think people repeat it. Now, this next one is my favorite, and I'm so excited to share it with you. And maybe you do it already. So I'd love to know, drop in the comments if you do this already. But I set my alarm the night before for the following day. So let's say we have to be somewhere at 10 o'clock at noon. I have a phone call at 1. I will literally set my alarm clock to not only to the actual appointment time, but what time we have to leave from our house to be able to get there on time. And then if I'm doing like a phone call or a Zoom call, how many minutes beforehand I want to be reminded to make sure that I have enough time to log into my computer and all of that. So I do the pre-planning of the time ahead of time and then the actual time of the appointment. I do this every single night before I go to bed so that I make sure that we don't forget appointments, that we leave on time, that we're where we are supposed to be. So, and I mean, really, sometimes I set like 4 of them beforehand. So even if I'm distracted on another call, it will keep annoying me to make sure that I am on task. Write dates on your calendar right away. So if you get, so this is number 5. If you get a school schedule, if you get a sports schedule, if you get therapy sessions, if you have work, anything, get it on your calendar the minute you get it. Do not put it inside of your planner or on the counter or hang it on the fridge. Make sure it's on one general calendar that you can see all of those things that are dates that you have the list for ahead of time. Put them on the calendar. Number 6, using whiteboards throughout your house for reminders. And this is not just for obviously your child's needs. This is for all household needs, and it's at a glance. And it can be obviously for different topics if you want in different rooms. I have 3 whiteboards hanging in my room. My son's room has a whiteboard. Our kitchen has a whiteboard. And those are things that are like, hey, I don't want to forget this, or we need to add this to the list. You have them, they're readily available, and they're out there. And it's just another great reminder to keep things out there. The next one is a clipboard in your car. So yes, it's great to put it in your notes app, like on your phone and whatnot, but like if you need toilet paper or you need something and you don't have it jotted down in your car in front of your face, sometimes those things can get forgotten. So always keep a clipboard in your car. So if you remember something that you need so that you don't forget, you're basically setting yourself up for success. And you can see that by putting whiteboards all over, pre-writing down those dates, all of those things help you to set yourself up for success. Pre-packing the car the week before, the night before. And what I mean by this is that, now, disclaimer, do not put anything in your car that can spoil or will melt. All right. So that's the disclaimer to this. Pre-packing your car. How many times do you leave somewhere and you forget the mail? You have to take the mailbox, the returns that you needed to do to Target, a gift for somebody that, oh my gosh, you ran into that week. Anything that you need to take along with you to get to somebody within that week, take it, put it in a baggie, label it to who it goes to. This goes to the post office. This has to be returned to Target. These things get dropped off at school. This is something that helps me so much. And sometimes even 2 weeks at a time, the minute I know that I need to take something, I put it in my car so it is not forgotten when I'm actually passing the post office or going by it, that I'm not running back home for it. Next one up, make the appointment at the doctor's office or wherever someone is trying to schedule an appointment. A lot of times we say when we're at a doctor's appointment, a dental appointment, whatever it may be, oh, I'll call you when I get home. Oh, I have to look at my schedule. I'll make it. Well, here's the thing, is that if you make the appointment at the doctor's office and you get it into your calendar right away, there is a 50-50 chance that that's going to work, and it's going to alleviate you one step. Because think about it. If you book it, you get home, you realize it worked out, it saves you having to call them. So you have that 50-50 chance, because either way, if it doesn't work out, you're going to then make the same phone call where you're going to say, I'm canceling it and I'm rescheduling it. So I use that all the time, because how many times over the years that I've left a doctor's office, I'm like, oh, I'll call you when I get home. And then it's just one more extra step. And if I would have, made it while I was there, I would have had a 50% chance of it working out. Next one up, pre-portioning any of your medications, your child's medications, anyone in the house that's on meds. And they have month-long pill boxes as well as they have week-long pill boxes. For the core medications that your child or family member takes, planning those out ahead of time, having them all in the slots and time frames they go in, saves so much time. Then if for some reason you interject another medication into there because of an illness or whatever, you just have to add that one. If you have kiddos that are still taking liquid meds that do not swallow meds, I would say do some type of a calendar where you can line them up to get part of your counter at home or a table that maybe is put in your kitchen to line up those bottles. If you don't have a different way of pre-planning, I know sometimes people do syringe planning where they'll take the syringes, they'll draw it up, put the cap on it if they have those, and then those will be ready to go. And then they can put those in a filing system, like if it has to be refrigerated or whatever. So pre-planning those meds, pre-ordering any of your regular medications from the pharmacy. So many pharmacies now have it where you can be shipped right to your house. You don't even have to go drive and get it. And that's through hospital pharmacies as well as like your general pharmacies like Walgreens and whatnot. So If you can do that, and it is a type of medication that's a long-term med, and you're able to pre-order it and then just have it drop shipped to your house, save yourself the the extra step. Reportioning out, like meal prepping, food, snacks. If your child has food modifications, things that have to be added to their foods to be done, pre-organizing those within your refrigerator, having them laid out in different, portion buckets. And obviously, I'm sure you guys have all seen, like, from the home edit ladies and whatnot on Netflix, and there's so many home organizers now, fridge organization, to really get the things meal prepped and your fridge organized to make the food process much, much simpler. Sending out emails. Let me tell you a little thing about this. I'm so excited about this. Is another one of my favorite ones. Is that many times I'm like reading a brochure, I'm reading about a doctor, I'm reading about something at school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a question about this. I have a question. But obviously it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I've been up with my kids, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't call them right now. By sending an email out, because obviously you can do that at any hour of the day, send the emails out, ask the questions. Hopefully the people get back to you and you're not chasing them to follow up, to follow up, to follow up. But at least you've put it out there, and also you can track it to just like re-forward it to them, resend it to them. And it's something that you can do in the middle of the night. My son does have a sleeping disorder. And he is going to be 25 years old this year. So I do not get your normal hours of sleep. So I'm doing a lot of things a lot of times in the middle of the night. And I just find that if I get it off my head, I write out what needs to be said. I can copy, I can paste it, I can send it a different way. I still can call and follow up, but it saves me one step some of the time that they actually answer back. I get my answer and I don't end up having to call. Also, your phone call list. This one is another one of my favorites. I have kind of sectioned out places that are opened up 24 hours a day or open at 7 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So if I'm up that 2 hours before my kids are up, I am able to make those calls because those places are open 24 hours, 24 hours a day, or they open up at 6 or 7 in the morning. So put those on your list because that really helps save time. If you're in a quiet environment, you can call. Also, if you're calling somewhere at 5 or 6 in the morning, likelihood is they're not going to be busy and you're not going to be on hold for such a long period of time. Next up, buy in bulk whenever you can. So I know that with the cost of food and everything right now, that is not always the easiest. But if you do have a Sam's or a Costco membership and you're able to buy some things in bulk that are readily used, that saves you from having to do all of those trips back to the store, taking up more of your, time and more errands and more things to, forget. At least you have them at your house. This one is one that I am a culprit of. And so it's really important to me. I've been really focusing on accomplishing this, the next one. And it is, do not wait to stop and get gas or even maybe milk, but gas. Now, I live very far away. I live out in the middle of the country. So I'm about an hour from all of my son's doctors and my family and all of that. And so gas is something we need quite a bit. And if I wait till the next morning and then we have somewhere to be and then I'm rushing, and then what happens? Chaos, overwhelm, all of it starts to rush at me. So don't wait to get the gas when you need it. Just go get it. Also, last thing on the list, and I know I'm like 6 minutes over, is to keep an emergency bag in the car for everyone. That includes change of clothes, obviously emergency items, extra meds, snacks, water bottles, all of that. But keep an emergency bag for each person. So sometimes I see moms and dads, they have like the emergency bag for the kid. Well, what about yourself? What if you spill something on yourself? What if you need a change of something? Always keep an emergency bag for everyone in your family. I know that was at super speed. I am going to try to put these in the show notes for you guys, but I hope that at least one of these things out of, I don't even know how many they are, I'll have to count them and put them in the show notes, that you have extracted at least one thing where you're like, hey, that's a good idea. So with that, I'm going to wrap up here today. And I want to let you guys know, I do have a special gift for you for listening in today. And that is our brand new 15-page self-care toolkit. Because with all of this overwhelm, chaos coming at us, as special needs parents, we always really need all of those different tools and strategies and whatnot to keep our self care for ourselves in check. So it is our brand new 15-page download, and it goes through everything from a gratitude journal to special needs parenting affirmations to foods, on the go exercises, everything. So make sure to click the link below so that you can download that. And I hope that you enjoy it. So, with that, I'm going to bring this down because I feel like I was on a race trying to get those all out in 10 minutes. It didn't work. It's okay. I need to give myself grace, which is what I'm going to say next. So, I want to just remind all of you to celebrate the little things. I know life, so much of the time, can be chaotic and overwhelming, but it also has so many beautiful, joyful moments. So celebrate those little things. Give yourself grace. Remember, this is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and you, my friend, are in it for the long run. I hope this 10 minutes, well, I should say now 18 minutes of tips and actionable strategies has helped. Please remember, if you think this could be helpful for anyone in your network, to share it out to them and follow us here on the podcast. So thank you again for listening. I appreciate you all, and I am wishing you all a very, very blessed day. Until next time, bye-bye.